Is that another box with a Kawasaki logo on it? You're damn right it is. Let's check it out in this super review. So as you may recall, I recently got a 2018 Kawasaki Ninja 400. It's a pretty sick little motorcycle, and I've been riding it around. I got about 1,000 miles on it right now. Maybe I should do a super review about that. And what I thought would be really good to do is if I made the bike just a little bit less useful, but a little bit better looking. And that's exactly what this thing's gonna do. Okay, so the seat cowl, what it does is it replaces the rear seat on the motorcycle. And I pretty much never ride with a pillion. And by pretty much never, I mean, I think in my 10 years of motorcycling, I've had someone on the back of my bike twice. So a rear seat, not super useful to me. A prettier looking bike, okay, that's pretty useful to me. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna unbox the seat cowl. I'm gonna go into the garage and put it on my bike. And then I'll come back here and I'll tell you, what do I think about the seat cowl for the 2018 Kawasaki Ninja 400. All right, let's do it. All right, here we got the seat cowl in a genuine parts Kawasaki box. This box looks just like the last box. I mean, once I, unboxed it, once I unboxed the box from the box, if you recall. Go ahead and crack it open, see what's inside. All right, so what do you get in the box of a seat cowl for the Kawasaki Ninja 400? You get the seat cowl itself, you get a rubber butt bumper, and you get a ton of hardware. Is this more hardware than you expected in that box? Because it's definitely more hardware than I expected in this box. I know some of this is gonna maybe more or less plug and play, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it together off camera. You're not gonna be able to watch me do that. And then I will report back exactly how hard the process was. I'm sure this is gonna be pretty easy, but I'll report back and I'll let you know. All right, so I got the seat cowl on the back of my Ninja 400 and I am ready to give it a score. This thing sucks. This thing is a 2 out of 5. I know that seems kind of harsh, but let me tell you about what it takes to fit this seat cowl onto the back of your bike. All right, so as you saw when I unboxed it, it came with a ton of hardware out of the box. I had to build this thing myself, which, it's not that much work. It was actually really easy to piece it together. The cowl bit itself was really easy to piece together, but it's just a lot of, I can't believe that I had to do that for a thing that cost 160 bucks. 160 bucks, build your own piece of plastic? Come on, Kawasaki. The other problem, and this is really the big problem, is the installation process. Holy moly, I thought it would be as easy as removing the rear seat and plugging on the seat cowl, because I mean, that's how easy it was to install the new ErgoFit, the higher seat for the rider that I installed a while back. But no, it's not that easy. What complicates the situation is you have to install a little metal bracket underneath the seat, underneath the rear passenger seat. And installing that metal bracket means, screwing in these little bolts that are essentially underneath the plastics of the bike. Now, if you look at the instructions for installing the seat cowl, it says remove the seat and remove the seat cover. And it does not tell you exactly what it means by the seat cover, but once you get in there and you realize what you're working with, what it means by the seat cover is it means that it wants you to remove basically all of the plastics on the back of the bike. And as I started doing that, it's just like there's some plastics that are basically up near the back of the seat that are intertwined with some plastics that are in between the back of the seat and the rider's seat, which is then underneath some cowling, some black cladding on the side, which is then itself underneath the front fairing. Basically, if you want to install this thing per the instructions, you're almost removing all of the plastics on the bike. I know that's ridiculous. That is absurd. I seriously can't believe that that's what they want you to do. Pro tip, you can get away without doing that. I figured I was just gonna go through with the process as they instructed, but as I kept unbolting more and more pieces, it just kept getting ridiculous to the point where there was no way I was going to do it. I had to figure out a different way that didn't require me to remove half of the plastic from my motorcycle. So what I did find is that I was able to, basically what you have to do is you take a bolt and a little nut, and you have to work it underneath a part of it's impossible to describe, but basically what I had to do was I put duct tape on my finger so that I could put the nut and stick it to my finger. That way I could stick it in this tiny little hole without it falling off and falling inside of the bike. So once I had that, I was then able to take the bolt, and there's literally not even enough room for me to just finger screw the bolt into the nut. Now the ratchet socket that I had that was metric, that matched the bolt size, was actually a little bit too big around in diameter. I mean, the ratchet itself, or the socket, fit the bolt, but the head of the socket was too large for me to fit it into there. Luckily, I just very fortunately happened to have another set of non-metrics. They were standard sockets, and a 1/4-inch socket was close enough match that it didn't strip out the bolt. And that socket that I had was actually just a little bit narrower in diameter, that was just enough where I could pull the plastic back and was able to take the ratchet and tighten that bolt. So seriously, what a ridiculous process just to make my bike less useful and a little bit better looking. And then here's the topper. This is what really makes it ridiculous, right? If it was all just this, you know, it's still, the thing looks pretty good on the bike. The paint color matches exactly. I got the candy plasma blue, looks really good. If it was only that, I'd be like, all right, it's a 3-star product. Pain in the butt, I had to build it myself for 160 bucks. That sucks, but at least it's doing its job. What really makes this a 2-star product, and this is really disappointing, is that if I want to put the rear seat back on the bike, okay, I can easily remove the seat cowl, but I can't put that rear seat back on while that metal bracket is still installed in the bike. That thing that was just a pain in the butt to install, I have to uninstall that if I want to put the rear seat back in the bike. That's absurd. That's ridiculous. Now it's really disappointing. I used to have a Ninja 250. That was my first motorcycle 10 years ago. And I also had a rear seat cowl on that bike. And I would very frequently swap back and forth to the rear seat, not when I needed to ride a passenger on my bike, because I never did that. What I liked having the option of the seat for was if I needed to strap something to the back of the bike, right? If I went camping, I would take a tent, strap it down to the back of the bike on top of the seat because it's a nice flat surface. The seat cowl itself, if I left the cowl plastic on it, it's like a dome-shaped plastic thing, which is not very good for carrying a tent or any other camping gear. So if I ever want to take this Ninja 400 camping and I want to be able to strap something to the back of it, I'm gonna have to uninstall that bracket. And you know what? There's a damn good chance I don't reinstall it because it's a pain in the butt. So yeah, the rear seat cowl for the Ninja 400, 2 stars out of 5. That is the worst review I've given here on the channel. And oh, that's a bummer. That thing's 160 bucks, so it's not cheap. It's a pain in the butt to install. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to uninstall if I ever need to put the seat back on it. To be honest, I don't think that I can recommend it. Now it does look good, and so that's the difficult part, is it does look good on the bike. It does what I was really asking it to do. It does it in a way that I think is not worth it, and frankly, I wouldn't recommend it. So now if those things that I brought up don't bother you and you're interested in getting the seat cowl for yourself, I do have a link to Amazon in the description below where you can buy it. I was actually surprised that I could buy it on Amazon. I thought that was pretty cool. While you're down there, if you see the like button, maybe hit the like button if you like this video. You can then subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next super review.